Welcome and thank you for standing by. At this time, all participants are in a listen-only mode. After the presentation, there will be a question-and-answer session. To ask a question at that time, you may press star 1 on your touch-tone phone and record your name at the prompt. This conference is being recorded. If you have any objections, you may disconnect at this time. I would now like to turn the meeting over to Mr. Leland Milstein. Go ahead, sir. You may begin.
Thanks very much, Sharon. I want to thank everybody for joining us today for this webcast, and my apologies for the slightly delayed start. We were dealing with some technical difficulties, but we're up and running and ready to go, and I, for one, am very excited about today's topic, the 2010 ACT Annual Meeting and the National Partners in Community Forestry Conference that's taking place in Philadelphia in just a few weeks. But first, let me tell you a little bit about this webcast. The Alliance for Community Trees Thursday webcast series is a bi-monthly webcast held at the lunch hour. The trainings leverage local successes by amplifying to a larger audience two model organizations' methods, materials, and approaches. Sessions are planned to last no more than 1 hour, with two presenters speaking on the same topic from slightly different perspectives, each for 10 to 15 minutes, followed by 10 to 15 minutes of questions and answers. This is a program of the Alliance for Community Trees. If you're not a member already, I strongly urge you to consider joining us. We are a coalition of nonprofit and public agencies around the country working to improve communities by planting and caring for trees. I want to thank our sponsors, the Home Depot Foundation and the USDA Forest Service, for making our entire webcast series and today's session possible. Today's session is Rally for the 2010 Annual Meeting and National Conference. Alliance for Community Trees Annual Meeting and Member Rally will take place on November 8th at the Loews Philadelphia Hotel, immediately preceding the Partners in Community Forestry National Conference. Plan to join friends and colleagues in Philadelphia for urban forestry's premier educational and networking conference. With an emphasis on partnerships, collaboration, and shared successes and challenges, this year's conference promises a dynamic program, engaging events, and practical ideas and partnerships that you can implement when you return home. Look forward to seeing everybody out there, both at the conference and exploring Philadelphia, which is a great green learning lab for all of us. And here to tell us a little bit about that today is Michael Leff, who is Tree Vitalized Program Manager at the Pennsylvania Horticultural Society, also known as PHS. Tree Vitalized is a public-private partnership launched by the Pennsylvania Department of Conservation and Natural Resources in 2004 to restore tree cover in southeast Pennsylvania, where the program is managed by PHS. Tree Vitalized is now a statewide program, which is pretty exciting, and they're having an impact all over the state. Pennsylvania Horticultural Society is the nation's oldest horticultural society and the leading organization for greening in the region. Its Philadelphia Green program, founded in 1973, has become a model of urban revitalization for cities around the country. This year's tree plantings mark the 17th anniversary of Tree Tenders, the PHS program that teaches neighborhood groups how to plant, maintain, and advocate for trees. Prior to joining the staff at PHS in 2006, Michael was Watershed Program Manager at the Pennsylvania Environmental Council, and before that, Land Manager at Albury Arboretum in Philadelphia. He's President of the Mid-Atlantic Chapter of the Society for Ecological Restoration, Vice President of the Pennsylvania Community Forestry Council, and actively involved in the Urban Ecology Collaborative, and we are lucky to have Michael with us today.
Thank you. Okay, well, I'm excited to get ready to host everybody. And in getting this slideshow ready, I want to tell you a little bit about PHS and also about what you can expect to see in Philadelphia. And it was really an exercise in having to trim things down because there really is so much to see here. And those of you who have been here, there's more going on every year. And those who haven't, there's just so much to see. I tried to focus on things that are in proximity to the Loews Hotel where the conference will be. But if you have time, don't limit yourself to that. There's lots to see and do. So is this all set for me to start clicking through then? I guess so.
Yes, go for it, Michael.
There we go. And on my end anyway, it's loading, it says loading image, but Yeah, here we go. So looking back at the beginning of Philadelphia, our founding father, William Penn, when he came back here, he had an eye for urban forestry even then, as you see the original shade tree ordinance from all the way back in 1700. The Pennsylvania Horticultural Society is not quite as old as that, but pretty darn old. We go back to 1827, and you can see the image we had then. And we're best known perhaps for being the sponsor, the producer of the Philadelphia International Flower Show, and that's been going on for ages and ages. And again, I seem to have a time delay on my images loading here. I'm not sure if that's already there for all the rest of you, but anyhow, you can see the flower show and gala back in the day, and similarly the kind of participants in the early days of the flower show, or at least after photography had been invented. And since I am having a delay on my image loading here, perhaps Leland, if you could just let me know when I click, does the next image come up faster for everyone else?
It is for me.
Okay, so here I just clicked on to the next slide, which should be showing you the more recent version of the Philadelphia International Flower Show, which is
hope everyone else does.
Is similar to in the past, although now it's in color. And we also, let's see, have updated our logo and slogan. And I think that that really captures what we do, the planting seeds and growing lives, because with all the greening that we do, including our tree work, it's not just about the love of beautification or the environmental benefits, but it's really what you get by working with the community and growing lives. So here's some of the images from the Philadelphia Green Program, which Leland mentioned has been around for 30-some years, and the different kind of program elements, which involves trees, gardens, parks, just transforming spaces, vacant land, and more. And I always like to show just a few examples of the space transformation that we're able to work. And hopefully now you're seeing the rundown view that would have been outside our office windows here coming into the city from 30th Street Station. And now transformed into a beautiful gateway coming into the city. And so we do that on contract with the city for various public landscapes. And let's see, here's another one. This is part of our Neighborhood Parks program, where we work with a network of friends of various parks and working with the Philadelphia Parks and Rec Department. This is Vernon Park, actually, in Germantown, where Obama spoke before the election. And this is a transformation that PHS was able to help make happen. And that's our parks program. And when you're here in Philadelphia, we'll have an exhibit. There's, everyone will be there. There's whatever it is you're interested in, including the urban forestry, but anything else, there'll be folks there to talk to you about that. Then the vacant lots program that we've had in contract for the city, and the city's budget has taken a bad hit, as everyone else has. So right now that's kind of a little bit, scaled back and hopefully not stalled for too long. But again, here's the transformation that we've been able to work in vacant lots, which, like many older industrial cities, is a huge problem all over, scattered all over the city. And by stabilizing them with a cleaning and greening, and even if it's a temporary green measure, because sometimes it's a first step to redevelopment, it helps stabilize communities. So that's back to the growing lives. And our community gardens program. This is an area just north of Center City. This is an entire block that was converted from an abandoned lot in 1995 to a block of green space. It's on Spring Garden Street, or in the Spring Garden area, and it's called the Spring Gardens. It is a very beautiful and heavily used by 180 neighborhood families now. Gardening, it provides fresh produce for local food cupboards and greening education. And here's just another array of images from that. And again, all of these places, if you have the time to walk around while you're here, you can see this and more. So moving on to the trees. The PHS Tree Tenders program started up about 17 years ago. That's our community training in tree planting and stewardship and advocacy, launched in collaboration with Penn State Cooperative Extension. And it involves all manner of aspects of tree planting and care. And that's been the basis of our tree planting ever since. And when the State Department of Conservation and Natural Resources launched the Tree Vitalize Partnership in 2004, there's Governor Ed Rendell for another couple of months announcing it, and the great sycamore out in Lansdowne, which is an incredible tree in itself, and actually one of the motor coach tours will be going out there. The idea was to help reverse the loss of the urban tree canopy, which is really dramatic in the region. And so that created a huge partnership. PHS became the lead nonprofit. We manage it here in the southeast part of Pennsylvania. They have since launched it, DCNR has, in Pittsburgh, and brought a version of Tree Vitalize to the other metropolitan areas across the state. And now we're looking to expand our part of the program here in the southeast even further, and starting to encompass and collaborate with neighboring adjacent areas of New Jersey and Delaware. And you'll hear more about that at the conference. The partnership involves state agencies, regional county planning commissions, conservation districts, Philadelphia, Parks and Rec, the Water Department, Office of Watersheds, which is a really key opportunity for us, and I suspect other urban forestry programs as well, plus an array of nonprofits, academic, nursery, corporate sponsors, land conservancies, and we had a huge gathering of all those partners just the other night. There was a lot of enthusiasm. And so by putting the two together, the Tree Tenders program is the basis for doing our community plantings throughout Philadelphia and the region, and then with the weight of the Tree Vitalize partnership behind it, that includes everything from these watershed riparian restorations to street tree plantings in Philadelphia, where things that pass for soil are pretty challenged, but also in the surrounding counties. And as you can see there, we're working with bare root trees primarily, although we plan to go well beyond that now in order to meet higher numbers and get more trees to more areas. And here's just some more, and I always like to include the picture of me having some fun with a group of tree planters on a hot day in April this year. Way too hot. It was a rough year to be a tree in this area, but we had some good times there. That's the growing lives part. It probably did better than that tree. And then just a few of the PHS projects. Here's one, Liberty Lands Park. It's a public park. It's, again, not too far from the conference site. It's privately owned by a neighborhood organization, and because it's located in a combined sewer overflow CSO area and also in need of improvements, it was a great opportunity to address both situations through a stormwater management project. So in partnership with the Philadelphia Water Department's very progressive Office of Watersheds, PHS developed a master plan with a variety of functional and fun features. And once the work got started, this was the site of a tannery. So it had been, it was a brownfield, and before that, a tannery that was poorly demolished. So you can see some of the challenges once we got to work there. And due to that and the potential for instability, like those holes into basements that had been covered, and poor soil, we opted for a detention system rather than infiltration of potentially contaminated water. So the rain garden is lined with an impervious material. And here is the finished rain garden during a storm with an elevated stage overlook at its edge. This is a really great, heavily used park. Now it's nothing but good times and blue skies, as all the transformation pictures always manage to have turned the skies blue. There's also an active community garden there. And there's also the green roof on top of PICO, the electric utility. And this is about 45,000 square feet. It's the largest green roof on an existing building, which I take it in Philadelphia, which means as opposed to a new building rather than a non-existing building. And this was a planting plan that was developed by PHS. We also manage the tours. That's looking across at the 30th Street Station and the Sierra Center. It had been, we had hoped to combine the tour of the green roof with the walking tour offered on Thursday at the conference, but that didn't work out. But there may be an opportunity for an early afternoon tour if enough folks are interested and can stay a little longer. This is, back to William Penn, his master plan for Philadelphia, the grid that he laid out, and really goes from river to river, the Delaware off on the right and the Schuylkill River on the left. And I will show you, he planned for where the Loews Hotel would be right there, and sure enough, there it is today. That's where the conference will be. You'll also notice there are 4 squares that were laid out in advance to keep green spaces there, and these are wonderful park areas. Everyone has probably heard of Rittenhouse Square, which is indeed a wonderful, it's in an affluent area, but it's a very mixed-use, great people-watching park. But there's also Logan Square with or Logan Circle with the fountains and the landscape that we maintain. And also close to the conference center is Franklin Square, which has recently been renovated and is a really fun place to hang out. And the very historic Washington Square down there at the bottom. And smack dab in the middle is City Hall, which is a love it or hate it kind of building, but it's certainly something to see, and you can't miss it. And then just a few other sites from one side of the river to the other in the downtown or Center City area. If you call it downtown, people will know you're from out of town, so you have to call it Center City. This is Penn Treaty Park on the Delaware. And it's quite a historic place. It's according to legend, I guess we say now, in full disclosure, William Penn supposedly signed a peace treaty with the local Lenni Lenape Indians here under the great elm tree in 1682. Those good, peaceful relations lasted until his son took over, but that's another story. The tree was toppled by a storm in 1810. But because of shoots that had been propagated from before then and seeds produced in 1982, a direct descendant of that tree was replanted there. And this park is now being improved as a public access anchor as part of the major riverfront plans that are now underway along the Delaware riverfront, post-industrial neglected area cut off by Interstate 95, but it's going to be changing for the better over the years to come. Along the Schuylkill River, which is out on the other side of the city to the west, well, before you cross over the Schuylkill, and then there's West Philadelphia, but again, keeping it to the bounds of Center City. There's, of course, the Philadelphia Museum of Art, which is an amazing place. The walking tour will go up around there. There's also the Fairmount Waterworks on the Schuylkill River by the dam there, quite historic and beautiful, and has a really cool interactive museum there if you get a chance. There is also Boathouse Row, beautiful buildings with the skulls for sculling along the Schuylkill River there, and the view at night with the lights kept on like that all year round because it looks so nice. There's also right up alongside there, heading up the river from there, there's a beautiful recreation path. This is coming back down towards Center City on it, along Kelly Drive if you want to go for a run. It's just a really nice place. And then, of course, again, not far from the conference center, there is the historic district. There's Independence Hall, there's the Liberty Bell, but there's also many other just beautiful buildings and green spaces all around that area. So I hope the weather will permit and that you bring good walking shoes. And I think that is my entire talk. So I'd be happy to answer questions. I'd also be happy to, if anyone, you can see my email address there. If anyone has any particular questions, I'd be happy to serve as an ambassador for the city and try to direct you with whatever information I can provide.
Great. Thanks so much, Michael. I'm not sure if people are going to have questions, but it was a fantastic presentation, and I'm ready to open the lines up. So Sharon, if you could tell people how to ask questions.
Thank you. We will now begin the question and answer session. If you have a question, Please press star 1 on your touch-tone phone and record your name at the prompt. Your name is required to introduce your question. That's star 1 if you have a question. To withdraw your request, you may press star 2. One moment, please, while we wait for the first question.
Okay, Michael. So while people are thinking, also you're welcome to ask a question online by clicking on that Q&A tab. If you are afraid of public speaking and you want to just type in your question, I'll read it out for you. But I want to get started with a question you probably get all the time, which is, where do I go for the best Philly cheesesteak?
Well, there's a variety of opinions on that. There's Jim's, there's Gino's. I have to stay neutral on that. But another place that I didn't list in my tour here is down along South Street, which is quite a trip in itself. So it's a little further than the south end, going from river to river, Center City, and there's a variety of choices, including Jim's, which personally I like a lot.
There's no official PHS.
No, not a PHS endorsed one.
Okay.
Although that does open up a sponsorship opportunity I should relay to the development team.
That's right. Think about it. This could go a national tourism campaign. Alice, in our office, made a great comment that this is a really wonderful introduction to the city, getting us really excited about coming up there, and it's tourism for tree people, and we're thrilled about it. Do we have any questions on the line, Sharon?
I'm not showing any questions at this time.
Okay. So
I'll mention one other thing. Since I did keep my talk focused more on the Center City area, and I do encourage people to go farther afield, there's a lot to explore out in West Philadelphia, and then also further up in the northwest portion, there is the largest portion of the Fairmount Park system along the Wissahickon Creek, and that is just a beautiful, gorgeous, very wooded natural area along a beautiful stream. Some
great options for people to check out during our stay in Philly for the conference. All right. Well, if folks do come up with more questions, I'm sure Michael or Philly folks would be happy to answer them for you. You can also just shoot an email to me, and we can get those questions answered for you. Next up, to give a little more description about the ACT annual meeting and what we'll be doing there, is Greg Levine, who is Program Director at Trees Atlanta and a member of the Alliance for Community Trees Board of Directors. Some believe that Greg lives, eats, and breathes trees, but this is not reality, although he did plant his first tree, a purple-leaf Japanese maple, when he was just 5 years old.
Embarrassing.
Seeing his love for plants, his parents sent him off to the University of Georgia for a bachelor's in landscape architecture. In 1995, he left a landscape architecture firm, where much of his time was spent on tree removal plans, to happily go work for the National Arboretum in Washington, D.C. Following his time there, he was hired as a volunteer coordinator for Trees Atlanta, where he has remained. Now a certified arborist and program director, Greg has had the opportunity to create and develop several programs, including neighborhoods, forest restoration, neighborhood arboreta, the Beltline Arboretum, and many educational programs. Greg helped to write Trees Atlanta's Forest Restoration Manual and was recently selected as one of Atlanta Homes Magazine's Emerging Talent 20 Under 40. Congratulations, Greg.
I'm no longer under 40, unfortunately.
But you still continue to use your talents as an emerging talent to improve Atlanta's forest cover. So thanks for being with us today, Greg.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you, Jared, for having me. And Jared, I'm having some technical difficulties, so if you can just advance the slides, I'll let you know what slide we're on. How about that?
No problem.
All right, thank you. I appreciate everybody who's listening, and I don't know if that's 1 or 10 people, but I want to let everybody know that I've been to a number of these meetings over the years, and it's actually usually the most beneficial part of the whole entire conference. It's because you get so much time to spend with your peers who do urban forestry, and if you're real lucky, some of the program people get to make it out who actually can share a lot of their experience. So I want to start off by encouraging if any EDs are out there listening, to actually send some of the program people out there, because it's really a good experience for reinvigorating everyone, and also just a great chance to learn a lot. So I'm going to move on to slide 2. as y'all know, it's going to be in Philadelphia, and Philadelphia, I missed much of the presentation, but Philadelphia is a beautiful city, and I don't know if you got into all the public gardens in Philadelphia, but it is a beautiful city with great public gardens, everything from Bartram Gardens to some DuPont Gardens, and Longwood is also nearby. Really amazing places. So if you can get there early or stay there late, I really advise you to do that. As you know, the conference starts at 8 a.m., and we hope you get there at least by Sunday, because we have some Sunday evening events. I think the tree planting, I believe, is Sunday morning.
Sunday afternoon.
Sunday afternoon, sorry, Sunday afternoon. I make it in time for it. So it's really easy to register, so if you haven't done so, just go to arborday.org and click on that green button, and even I can figure out how that works. So everybody can do that. Slide 4. As I was saying before, it's a really great chance to meet other people who are doing the same thing, and there's a lot of chance to encourage each other, but also just tons of learning by sharing your experiences and your programs. And you can see Susan Pierce over there to the right in that slide, who is one of our program coordinators, as we try to send as much staff as possible to these conferences. And there I am on the right. As you can see, there's just a lot of opportunity from everything from programs to just chances to talk, and you have people from San Francisco over there on the right, and of course I think that's our executive director of president of ACT back there, Shannon, speaking as well. As the bare root planting that is Sunday afternoon, and you can see me up there in the middle. I did make that planting, and it was a lot of fun. It was very wet, and if you can get there on Sunday, it's the best hands-on experience you can do, because if y'all do neighborhoods plantings or just community tree plantings, you might pick up one key component to make your plantings go much smoother. I've also planted with tree people, and they, friends of trees and tree people will do it completely different. This is one of the best learning experiences you can possibly do at this entire conference. So I advise y'all to get there Sunday morning, and it's a lot of fun. You can see you actually planted a tree in a different state as opposed to just planting in your one city. Again, lots of chance for talking and speaking to other folks. Usually, you also get a chance if you're a program person to meet people who've been in the field for a very long time, whether it be Ray Trethaway over here on the left or Shannon. A lot of the executive directors have far more experience than a lot of the younger staff people, and it's just a great opportunity to network and learn more from the super pros. At the breakfast at 8 a.m., it'll be Susan Wachter, and I'm sure I'll get corrected on my pronunciation here by Jared at some point. Susan.
You got it right, Greg.
I got it right? Awesome. She's from the University of Pennsylvania Wharton School of Business, and she's done some really great research on the impact of trees in green space and property values. So she'll be discussing models for community revitalization, how we use trees in green space, and what tools are on the horizon to help us do even more. We also do some interactive dialogue with Susan and each other about these topics focused around the theme of community revitalization through trees. And right now, with so much federal money coming in to revitalize cities, trees are an important, obviously, component to do that. And we've been very successful in bringing neighborhoods back by really, really just focusing on regreening them. Next slide. We'll follow up with a membership update, and this is a chance to find out from the ACT board and the staff about what our accomplishments have been this year, and we have quite a few, and also find out what our newest prospective supporters are and what's happening in kind of the national landscape in D.C. We'll also be move on. We also have lunch that will be included, of course, and we're going to finish up with after lunch that we are going to kind of spark up some energy by doing kind of a interaction discussion, but more like speed dating. So we're going to be able to, everybody who's at the conference will get a chance to present what their newest, greatest program is, or what they're working on, or what's projected, and just a chance to speak for a minute or two, because so often we go to these conferences and we don't get a chance to speak to everyone. But if everyone just speaks for a minute or so, just on something they're excited about in their own organization, then they have an opportunity, we have an opportunity to hear a little bit about it and follow up with them over the next few days. So this will be a great chance to basically get just a little glimpse of what people are working on. Slide 12, Jared. Actually, slide 11, sorry. Without giving too much away, people are going to be talking about questions showing off their successes and mixing and sharing ideas in a fast-paced, high-energy setting. And so, again, it will wake you up after lunch. Slide 12. After that, we'll begin this afternoon session with some concurrent sessions. One of them will be on federal policy panel featuring leading advocates from our partner organizations working to revitalize American cities. Participants will include Catherine Nagel. She's the Executive Director of City Park Alliance. As we all do in urban forestry programs, we do a lot of planting in parks, and there's a lot of funding coming through to help revitalize our parks. And it's a great alliance to work with all of our park conservancies and such. Our next, another session will be Gary Beelan. He's the National Director of Healthy Waters Campaign at American Rivers. He will talk about advancing funding for green infrastructure for stormwater management. And Trees of Land is an example of an organization that recently got a 5-star grant to actually start a creek restoration, very highly visible. And it's not our usual area of work, but it was certainly an opportunity to plant and create wildlife corridor and expand our mission a bit in a time when we need to expand for both funding and of all the environmental issues that are in our community. Another concurrent speaker will be Greg Loews. He's a policy analyst at the Northeast Midwest Institute, where he focuses on revitalizing older cities, which most of our groups are from an older city and are constantly doing projects where they're trying to bring neighborhoods and communities back. Jennifer Henrich is also a speaker, and she'll be convener of the Sustainable Urban Forest Coalition. She'll be discussing how we coordinate a national agenda for urban forests with multiple national partners. Next slide. Other concurrent session topics might include using technology for trees, and Jared and I have been talking about, sorry, not Jared, sorry, Leland. Lena and I have been talking about using technology for trees, and maybe just sharing all of our different tree inventory programs that we have at our different organizations. Also, educating and engaging the public through programs like tree tenders, tree keepers, and citizen foresters. Basically, taking the volunteer to the next step and how they can help the organization and how they can help urban forestry in their community. Also, communications, formulas, and strategies for newsletter, electronic outreach, and media. Basically, from tweeting to Facebook, there are a lot of new ways to reach out a great number of people, and there's a lot to share regarding that. And, of course, local advocacy. Slide 14. Next, we'll have a quick afternoon break. Then we'll break up into round tables where people can move from table to table and engage in the topics that matter to them. We've got some really great people leading these tables. We have a few focus subjects that we'll be discussing at some of the tables, including Dr. Greg McPherson from the U.S. Forest Service, who will be discussing how Forest Service research and development can best support ACT members' work on the ground. Elise Shadler from the University of Vermont, We'll talk about how urban forestry groups are using carbon markets to support tree planting. A lot of the urban forestry groups right now are believing that it will be a way to help fund a lot of their wonderful regreening projects inside cities. We just need to turn that from seedlings to trees, and hopefully Elise will be able to help us with that. Beryl Ann Strada, president of JAM Communications of Atlanta and creator of Shade Magazine and our local Georgia Urban Forestry Council, will be speaking on how to publish professional urban and community forestry programs in your region without reinventing the wheel. That's what these conferences are so great about. We have a chance to share and not have to start from scratch, which obviously takes a lot of resources that right now in this economy we don't have. Slide 15. Gretchen Ferenz from the Cornell University Cooperative Extension on Volunteer Engagement Models for Urban Forestry will also be a roundtable speaker. Don Winsett of ISA will be talking about a cool idea being Trees Are Cool license plates. It's basically a fundraising, I guess, opportunity by creating a tree license plate that goes into the state forestry groups. Of course, we'd like to have that feed into our local urban groups like Trees Atlanta and such. Jennifer Dillon will be the last leader of the roundtable. Will be the last in Susan Woods of Keep America Beautiful, with whom you can share input about how Keep Atlanta Beautiful can structure its national programs to better support your local work. I know that in a lot of our very urban areas, we have a lot of trash issues, and it's actually a much better project when the trash is removed beforehand or the trash is being removed at the same time by another group. It creates a better community feel, and I certainly think that we should be partnering with Keep America Beautiful quite a bit more. Next slide. Other topics we would like to discuss are money and funding, which everyone has an interest in, and of course volunteers, which I have a special connection to myself, and local, state, and city advocacy. Where the money is the talk of the town right now. ACT members about where you're finding money, new sources in your community, trends you see in fundraising programs. We're hoping to share where money can be found and where people are successfully getting it. Capital financing model for your trees. This is something the city of Portland, Oregon, and Friends of Trees have worked on, partnering with Chicago's Center for Neighborhood Technology on incorporating trees as capital assets in local government financing. Also, volunteering. Again, more about volunteering. Volunteer and field coordinators will exchange tools, tips, and tricks of the trade for inspiring and effective volunteer projects. And also a State of the Urban Forest Council's roundtable, at which Bernie Fisher, president of the Indiana Urban Forest Council, will get the ball rolling on discussions about how UFCS, Urban Forestry Councils, are working best programs and approaches. And that's how we'll wind down the 2010 ACT annual meeting and member rally and give folks some time to go to their rooms and change before evening activities. I want to finish up by just, again, encouraging people to come to this conference. It really is just the best opportunity to learn a lot from the people that know, and hopefully you'll get a lot of the sessions, but also just talking to those that not only are presenting, but those who are actually going to be at the conference itself. I'd like to go over a few logistic things as well as I wrap things up. The ACT meeting, like the partner conference, will take place at Loews Philadelphia Hotel, located right downtown on Market Street. If you haven't done so already, you need to register for the ACT meeting as well as the partners conference. You can find more information on register online at www.arborday.org. You just go to that green button. Be sure to choose an option that includes ACT pre-conference member rally. Make sure you hit that, or otherwise you won't be signed up. Also, ACT still has available some travel scholarships, which I'm sure y'all might be interested in, to help make it possible for ACT members to attend the meeting. Again, I encourage you to have some of your program staff come to these meetings because they really need the experience. These scholarships are thanks to generous support from the Home Depot Foundation. They cover up to $275 for airfare and travel, $100 for lodging. If you share a double room, as ACT recommends, that will cover your hotel costs for attending the ACT meeting and should be quite helpful in covering your airfare. More funding is available if an organization is sending more than one person, but just note, you have to attend the full ACT meeting day to receive the scholarship. That means from the very beginning. We'd love for you to actually plant trees on Sunday as well, but I don't think that's a necessity, although we really encourage it. If you have any questions at all, please follow up with Leland, who created this wonderful presentation that I did so mediocrely. So if you have any questions, please follow up with Leland. All I can say is from personal experience, the community partners part of this overall conference is certainly the best part. And you really learn great ideas, figure out ways to save money, improve your programs, and have a chance to meet some people that can really pump you up quite a bit. So I hope you all can all attend.
Fantastic. Thanks, Greg. No, you did not do a mediocre job. You did a great job, and I thank you for taking some time out of your afternoon to discuss this and, like you said, get people pumped up for the meeting and for the conference and for Philadelphia. Greg, you and Michael have done a really great job, so thanks to both of you. I guess we can open up the line for questions right now. I'm not sure if people have any, but Erin, you want to just remind folks how to call in with questions?
Certainly. If you have a question, please press *1 on your touch-tone phone and record your name at the prompt. That's *1. If you have a question, your name is required to introduce your question, and to withdraw your request, you may press *2.
Great. While people are just getting in line, thinking up their questions, I want to let folks know that one thing, in addition to exchanging ideas, best practices, methods, and programs, which Greg has identified as the most valuable part of the conference and the meeting, which I think he's absolutely correct about. Another fun thing we'll be doing is exchanging hard goods, actual physical items. So we're encouraging everyone to bring their gear, their T-shirts, their flyers, their posters, any cool items that you use. We'll do a T-shirt exchange where you can swap T-shirts. Off the top of my head, I know that Keep Indianapolis Beautiful has some really cool 5-gallon containers that they have printed just the instructions for planting and tree care on the sides of. Great idea. Casey Trees in D.C. has this cool little watering sort of thermometer that you can stick in the ground and see how much rain has fallen and determine whether you need to water your tree that week. So bring those cool little things that you may have, share those good ideas. Again, like Greg mentioned, we don't want to reinvent the wheel. We're all here together working to green our cities. We want everybody to pitch in with their best practices and good ideas. Karen, do we have anybody on the line?
We do. We have Jean Kovinsky. Go ahead, ma'am. Your line is open.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you for taking my question. I was wondering what the rules are for the scholarships, because we're, of course, like everybody else, in a budget pinch.
Jean, I can certainly follow up with you about that. They're for ACT member organizations, and they, like I said, they're going, or as Greg said, they're going just for folks who attend the ACT meeting on November 8th. So those are some of the restrictions. I can send you, anyone who's interested, I can email up with you and send you the link where you can learn more information and apply for those. So just shoot me an email after the session, and Jean, I'll follow up with you.
Leland, are there many of those scholarships left?
Yeah, we do have some, and they're, again, like I said, they're for ACT members. It's one of the, I think, many benefits of membership. So yet another reason to join us. And we do have enough open that, if people are interested, get in touch with me. We want to make sure as many people can attend as possible. Any other questions?
We do have a question from Donna Murphy. Go ahead, ma'am. Your line is open.
Leland, I had a question about the ACT meeting prior to the conference. I don't know if I registered for that. Since I'm already registered, can I go back and then register for that, or can I? How do I do that if I don't think I registered for the ACT meeting this year?
Great question, Donna. There are, I think, two ways. I think everyone who has registered for a conference, you put in your email address and you had a password. And so if you go back to that same page that I showed before here, the arborday.org/PCF, click the Register Online button, and then you'll see on the right it says Already Registered. You can click that button and put in your email, and it'll let you update your registration and add on the ACT meeting day on Monday, November 8th. So thanks. It's a perfect question. If you have any trouble with it, let me know. Also, Jennifer Betcher at Arbor Day Foundation can help you out with that, because they are controlling the registration and can sort of tap right in there and get you all set up and signed up for the ACT meeting day.
Okay, and I had one other question, if you don't mind, if there's not anyone else waiting.
All right, Donna.
Very quickly. Greg kind of mentioned that there's some evening activities, but he didn't get into what they are.
Sure. I think there are a variety of groups throughout the weekend that may be doing different events. HCT, Alliance for Community Trees, is having a reception that evening. I believe some of the other groups, like the State Urban Foresters, are having different meetings or receptions or little get-togethers that night and different nights throughout the week. So,
will that be on the conference agenda materials? Is that information we'll get with our registration, or is that information that we just need to follow depending on what groups we're affiliated with?
If you register for the Alliance for Community Trees meeting online or with us, you will get information about it and an invitation to the reception. So
okay,
that's sort of an automatic. I don't know about the other groups. I imagine it's if you're participating with them or a member, they will be in touch with you about that.
Okay. I did get two other invitations, but I wasn't sure, if that was in one cohesive place, that information.
I think because they're all sort of run by independent groups who are all coming together as partners in community forestry, those different groups are running their events separately. So it may not be at all in one place.
Great. Well, thank you. I'm looking forward to it. Yay.
Too. I'm excited to see you there, Donna.
Yes.
All right, Sharon, anybody else?
I'm not showing any more questions at this time.
All right. Well, if anyone has more questions, again, feel free to email. Otherwise, I think we will wrap it up for today. This presentation will be available in about a week, and Alliance for Community Trees will email everyone who completes a brief survey. If you have a minute to fill this out today, this link right here helps us to just better program our sessions and discuss topics that you want to hear about. We won't have a webcast on November 4th, which we normally would because it's the first Thursday of the month. Instead, we're taking a break that day in preparation for this very meeting, the ACT meeting and the National Conference. So instead of listening on the webcast that day, come to the meeting in November on Monday the 8th. Thank you very much to Greg Levine and Michael Leff for taking some time out of their day today to present on these topics to us. We're looking forward to meeting them and to using what we learned today when we're in Philly in just a few weeks. Thanks to the USDA Forest Service for making this possible and the Home Depot Foundation. And a big thanks to everyone who listened in and will listen in. Thanks very much, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks.
This concludes today's conference. Thank you for your participation. You may now disconnect.